All right, it was cool, but then I just wouldn't eat lunch. Like I just wouldn't eat lunch. Like I'd either bring something, or I was like, I'm cool. I don't want this. I mean, the roll went from white bread to brown bread, but it's not a good roll, so I'm cool. Like the fruit cup, what happens is when you're so focused on the legislation but not the enforcement, is schools are gonna do the bare minimum to just pass what they need. Oh, we need a fruit cup. We're just gonna give you this cup of canned pizza. I don't want this. Like, and how much better is this than an apple anyway? Why are we picking this over something else? And what it always came down to was money. I know you had talked about also about, like you said, there were classes that if people want to go to or home ec. I took home ec. I didn't learn about W-2s. I didn't learn about tax form. I didn't learn about corporate structures or business structure. I didn't learn about any of those things. And I'm not saying that's a failure in my school. Right. I'm not saying that my school didn't try or other schools don't try. There are opportunities. But what I'm saying is as a community, when these are opportunities and not our bases, the same way other communities say they can't eat certain foods, the same way we should be saying you need to learn about these things. Why is that even optional? And if it is optional, it should be information that you would learn regardless. But this reflects more to education is partly school, but it's a big part of education that comes outside of school. And those two are both missing, right? If you're going to say these classes are optional, then where else, if they don't want to take these classes, are they getting this information? It shouldn't be optional, right? Math isn't optional. Right. English isn't optional. Why? What do they tell you? Right. You're going to use these things outside of school. I know for a fact you're going to use money when you leave, but you got a choice for this one. And so I'm saying, when you say a resistance to education, going back to my point that we talked about with Burgard, I don't think kids wake up and say, I don't want to be successful. I don't think teachers come to school and say, I don't want to teach. I think there's a miscommunication somewhere down the line where, even for what you said, financial management, I don't have any money. I need money raising. I need fundraising 101 first. Right. And so there's other things that kids are confused about. Again, you're teaching me all these structures and things of what to do when I get money, but you're showing me none of the skills to get it. Never told them about FICA. This is just information. Never told them about FICA. They don't know who that is. They think it's a person taking their money. You know, they don't understand it. So then it goes back to Mr. Jim Anderson when we talk about foods. The Black Panthers was the first ones that was bringing food into our community, and they took that model of kids getting nutritional foods and changed it to something else. So we back to the Jim Anderson show. Where we at with that?
When we talk about building community, and you're right, it takes it both inside and outside the school. I always say that, look, education doesn't start at the red brick house door. It starts at the community door. And it means that within our community, we need to be doing things for our kids. What community just let their kids run wild? What community doesn't take time to ensure their kids understand the paths of life? We got too many adults practicing excusiology. They say stuff like, you can't say nothing to these kids cause they're... Get out of here. Don't be a punk. All you got, if we talk with these kids like we love them, you're going to see something different. Also, we need to understand that, look, every child, including ourselves growing up, we had to come through a part to where we had to learn how to manage ourselves. And that means the person who caretakes us needed to make sure they kept us in the margin. A lot of people didn't do that. And let some of the kids get caught up in the wrong kind of flow. I'm saying that the challenge is both to the adult and the young person. You know, if someone is going to whine and say, let's say the food, I don't like this. Okay, all right. So what are you going to do to get it changed? Is it going to be, I don't like this, man, hooping and hollering, I don't like this. That ain't going to change it. If you're a little kid, that's a little kid, a little baby. But as you grow, you're supposed to know, okay, if you're at home, man, I don't like this. Get out. Well, in the school, it's the same mechanism. If you don't like something, you share it with your parents because your parents have a role to play at school. But you also let it be known within there. You don't have to throw it. You don't have to do nothing like that. That part comes to an individual young person learning how to handle themselves. Again, this is why it's important at the community door, because there's organizations that work with young people that can begin to help them learn that self-control so that they can take in much more knowledge. But now we got too many kids that we got them practicing that nobody cares. That's not true. If they have ideas, don't express the anger, express what's the solution. If adults are failing in some way, instead of thinking they're trying to be purposeful to do it, let's think that they didn't have, let's call it brilliance, to see that something needed to be done there. But you see it, so what's the best way to express it? Talk about it. In other words, if there's something you don't like, you want to get rid of, want to change, you got to have also in mind, what is it do you replace it with? And it can't be, well, I don't like this, so Murray what? Murray's not responsible for changing it, but we can all help in getting it changed. And I think this conversation's opened up some mechanisms that need to happen in our conversation, in our homes and in our community. Hey, young folks, what's happening? Anybody talk to you about the food you want? And that young folks get serious when they're expressing to someone, whether to each other or to an adult. Hey,
or even in finances.
Yeah, that's right.
You got to work a week in a hole. You tell that to a young kid today, say a week in a hole. What is that? And they like, what? So they don't know.
They don't know that about job. And on every block, we got people who have jobs, who go into jobs every day in every kind of stream of education needed in school, whether it be English, writing, math, geology, any of that. We got people living on the block who know that. Okay, adults, who's teaching? Who's helping to teach? I ain't asking you to spend your work career there, but I'm saying you can't do 1 hour on Saturday to teach some young folks. You can't send a flyer around your block and say, hey, look, I'm proficient in such and such.
Right.
If you're having struggles, if you like some help on Saturday, I'm doing a 10 a.m. at my yacht. Right. Yeah, come on down. This is how you build community. Get beyond just sweeping streets. Keep sweeping them and keep them clean and do a lot more. But I'm just saying there are things that we can do, and we need to open ourselves up to that. And by the way, on cleaning streets, you keep on turning that, but on cleaning street, right, going on Grider, coming in from Kensington and getting ready to turn on the Grider heading west.
Yes, sir.
All along that little dirt path, ain't nothing but broken glass and bottles. Shame on the city, whoever. And I know we just got past Earth Day, so it should be sparkling. But city, you can't leave all that glass on that. So that's it.
And I think for me, why I said this is bigger than just, and Caller, we're going to get to you in a second, and why I feel like this is bigger than just schools is because to me, for what you're saying, we don't know as a people how to mobilize and organize for things, for causes, right? The same way you would organize and mobilize to go to a school and say, hey, we want a better menu, is the same way you get out and vote and we don't vote. So do you want me to believe that we're going to mobilize and we don't do it, right? The same way, like you said, the same way we want programs from the government is the same way we can create programs in our front yard every weekend for our community. But I don't see programs in our community.
And that's a task for you. You know that.
And that is a task.
That's a task for all of us. If we see that it ain't going like it's supposed to, the question we have to ask ourselves, what are we prepared to do? It's an I answer. What am I prepared to do? See, because everybody see where issues are, but they never answer what they're prepared to do. So let's go to the phone. So I haven't been talking too much. Caller, you on the air. Welcome.
Just one more thing I want to say. As a young person coming up in the city, I had organizations like Trading Aid Restoration and SCAPE to help me with, with some of the navigating some of the avenues of when it comes to, financial management. Mm-hmm. We have agencies that exist and they have money. What is the CAO Center doing? What does Buffalo Urban League do? And what does ETC do? Build an organization that our youth could go to and be able to get the feeling about financial management, FICO, because FICO is an acronym. That word needs to be broken down. And we have organizations that have money. CAO, Urban League, and BETC are all funded organizations that can offer those particular types of feelings, Jim, that
you're absolutely right, ma'am.
Those agencies are there, and that's what they should be doing. And I say that because I experienced it as a youth, being able to go and get stuff, education on finances from 78 Restoration, even how to wear what clothing to wear to an interview, how to sit, what body language, and how to answer interview questions.
Well, we're doing that right now with our programs right now. Man, we're doing that right now with our programs right now with the county, and like I said, with Stop the Violence Coalition, is teaching those mock interviews and things like that there. You're absolutely right what you're saying here. So we're going to say this to you, ma'am. We would love to get you here on the show, to come in and sit down on the show, and so that's possible, and get you here on the Jim Anderson show 1 week. So just call the number and then leave your information. We're gonna call you right back to see if we can get you on the air, because you seem like you ready to roll with us, and that's the shake-up part about the Jim Anderson show, and I'm bringing it to you live like that there.
Dig it.
But that's how we said. It's not just for politicians to come on the air and talk their nonsense or try to push it off, but we want to hear from the community as well.
That's right.
Because today is just us three, so we could have had you come up here. So we're gonna leave it on that note, ma'am. And all your information, everything you given us is going over real well with us.
Actually, it's already in play,
yes.
Because, in fact, if Lee's still out there.
All right, 6'2", I'll holler at you later.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear. I want to
The
Lee, can you get on the mic out there?
The
Or get on the mic, because the caller just mentioned about programs that help folks to learn, and it was mentioned that some of these okay, we're gonna go to a break and we'll come back.
I'm not.
Oh, not yet? Okay, I'll set it up and then we'll have Lee speak on it after the break. And that is, it's the caller mentioned, things like helping people to know the appropriateness of dressing, the talk, and those things, and how these different organizations should be doing it. And I would add to it, if you're doing it, there ought to be some evidence. A lot of them reach for the upper crust, the older, but we needed to start early, just like early education works. So people who started, we needed to start early and really be serious. That's all I'm going to say on that. Leah, drop in after the break.
Okay. And as we head to these last couple of minutes before break, I think for what you're saying is true. I think for me, especially as a young dude, I know for me, it's monkey see, monkey do, right? And so when I'm growing up and I'm seeing how Black men that look like me handle certain situations, it allows me to then help understand how I should do them situations as well. So it is an effort of what can we do ourselves, not only to help the community, but show the community that that's what they're supposed to be doing. And it's a multifaceted issue.
You heard of the 100 Black Men?
Yes.
100 Black Men is a national organization. What you just said, you do what you see. Their motto is they will be what they see. And that's why it's so important for every adult to remember, and every person. People will be what they see, but mostly for young people who don't know what some folks know, they will be what they see. So if we don't push back on the cooties-ism that tries to detract them, and we all know who they are, that hang around communities, who push ideology that is upside down. We all know who they are. Ain't nothing wrong with debating on stuff, but I'm just saying we know there's some people who exist who are misleading. I would say some of these old rusty butt adults who try and outdress young people and show how, that they got more style. It ain't about that. You need to present something that shows growth. You won't be a child forever. And just as they won't be. And I just think we need to show them the different levels of life.
Before we go to break, I want to mention this program, the I Promise program by St. Brian's Clothers. And essentially what it is they're asking for donations to help students from Buffalo Public Schools attend their prom. Everybody deserves to have some cool outfits they can be confident in. And so it's going to be from May 13th through May 23rd at from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Again, on all those days, Monday to Friday, May 13th to May 23rd at the Key Bank Center Account Services. And if you go there from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., you can drop off suit jackets, dress shirts, ties, dress shoes, belt pants, belts, and handkerchiefs. And the recommended sizes for the shoes are 7 to 13, and for suits, size 34 to 44.
You said 7 to 13. Hold on. Than that, we 16, 7, shoes do it. So I think we're gonna have DeWitt coming to the
he coming in at that break.
He gonna have to
spend that 14 need to
13 thing side.
There's
Okay.
the rest of the world.
On 14, if you want to look out for the 14, shop at 14 in the 2. If you want to reach out, you can reach out at stbriansclothers@gmail.com or 716-787-2543. We'll catch you guys after the break. Thank you.
Yeah.
74. What's up, man? What's up, man? I heard you talking. What you said? You distracted, man. You distracted. What's the size of the shoes? What's the size of the shoes?
Yeah, I know, but you know what? He set it up for you, the alley-oop, and you blocked it. That's your own teammate.
Look,
And you blocked it.
no, I love what he said.
He hit you with the lob, and then you came in and just...
No, I slam dunked him. He went to the 14 side. Let's go 14 side. That's good. We want big sizes. These kids has got big feet. You know that, right?
But I have, this is a reflection of
It's all good.
taking a look at my inventory and saying, what do I need?
Yeah, and so
That's
we
why
don't
that
drop the size on there, and then we can show up and you get a list of 14. That's all. If I'm a benefactor towards your program, I'm thinking like, hey,
I got 16s at my own.
Drop them
You
off.
never know when you get that big.
That would have been the slam dunk on the air.
No, we waiting on you to come back. Don't come on. This is Jim Anderson. So don't wait till I
wait till I show off.
This how we roll on.
Easy to take charge of your health and
And the lady let it
I heard y'all talking about sugar. You heard talking about it. You covered all the bases. This is a powerful program.
Smackdown.
Ready, shot ready, come on, give him his mic.
Smack.
Welcome back to the Conversation with Jim Anderson show. We're right back after the break, and we're gonna pick it up. We got an extra addition who's gonna speak. We got a wise man in here, Mr. Lee, gonna give us some information. So, Jim, if you want to kind of get back and prompt us.
Yeah, well, you know, what the caller had called in and was talking about some things we need to be doing, you know, that they're basically simple, that we overskip them because a lot of young people, they don't know how to dress, they don't know various math, and we got organizations.
Well, they can't get this stuff. They don't have access to the clothes.
I know
we have
it.
to address that. So
I know
it's
it,
not like
and
they're
that's the
walking
whole
past
thing.
these stores and they're saying, I'll pass on the shirts and the ties and the rugbies and the khakis, and I'm gonna just settle for hoodies and white tees, right? So it's about accessibility. Like, we're downtown Buffalo, New York, and there's no place for us to buy a white dress shirt or buy a tie.
Wow.
And think about where we stand in regards to, you know, city size and, you know, in regards of New York State, like we're number 6 or something like that.
Okay.
Right. I mean, and we don't have a suit store downtown where men can, you know, get the things that they need.
Like
back in the day, it was a different story. So, but it's an opportunity. See, the thing is, though, we have to, once we address those gaps and those voids, we have to move aggressively to fill them. And that's what I'm calling on the community to do. But, you know, bottom line, this work of St. Brian Clothiers is really a work of the people, right? You know, there's a very small percentage of my clothing that went into it. I planted the seed, right? It was my closet that planted the seed, right? But then after that, you know what? It just manifests, and God has blessed it. And, you know, bottom line is our goal is to do a couple things. One is to dress and bless men in honor of the Jefferson 10, right? So that's we're talking about building legacy pieces. And, you know, I love all the monuments and I love all the spaces that we're creating. It's important. We need it to heal as a community. But what are tangible, actionable things? What are actionable, tangible items, things that we can create that can impact the rest of the world on behalf of those lives and that tragedy that we are still dealing with? So, you know what? When we started this 2 years ago, providing suits just so men can go to the funerals, we also had a lot of moms dragging their kids in because it was prom season, and so we met that demand head on. And fortunately, we had enough inventory at the time to dress the young men.
So it was only basically doing it for women, mostly in Buffalo, New York.
Well, basically the whole world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you're referring to Dress for Success.
Right.
Dress for Success is an international, global, you know, entity.
Is that Dress for Success, or I believe Coven cleaners and things like that?
You're right. They even pop in for
the women mostly.
For the young ladies
have them go in and get these gowns that no one picked up.
Beautiful gowns.
And now, but you went to a different version of it. You went for men.
Well, that's how that was what I had. You know, God told Moses, "What's in your hand?" You know what I mean? And it was a staff.
Oh, he's going there.
I just had to, right? You know, Bishop just left out of here, right? So the anointing is still in here, man.
Yes, it is.
But nevertheless, he said, "What's in your hand?" And so, you know what? That's what was in my hand: clothing, right? And the ability to style, right? And I didn't even realize it was an ability until someone called me and said, "Put together a couple outfits for me." And I said, "What you mean? You want me to put together your outfits?" And so then I realized that people, you know, people appreciated the way I
where did this
made
come
it all
from?
happen.
Did it come from your family growing up? Grandmother, father, who gave you this thing of wearing suits?
It's
you know, because back in the day, during Jim Anderson's time, everyone wore suits.
It was
Austin.
well, Buffalo
I mean, that's all
Mafioso.
they
That's
was
what
doing.
it was. We
Not
walked
the
around with
mafiosa.
Listen,
I don't even want to get none of that because
listen,
then you're
that's
talking about
us.
bills.
No,
But I'm just saying,
we the
back in the
best
day,
dressed.
but back in the day, zoot suits and shoots like that there
Yeah.
were out then, and now here it is. You're doing it now. Is a hard task to get young men to wear a suit, not just for prom, but
they love it
all the time.
They love
Getting used to wearing those suits. Lemoyne Hill,
They love
he
it.
wears suits all the time as well. You know what I'm saying? Now putting that bow tie on, learn how to tie a tie.
Yeah.
You teaching all this as well, right?
Indeed. Well, you know, they enjoy it. You know, I said this thing happens when I watch men put on a suit. It's like a time machine, right?
Wow.
And so, yeah, it is, because when I see the OGs put it on, the elders put it on, it takes them back to those days that you were talking about, right? So they go back in time. But then when you put it on a young man, right, who has all this life ahead of him, he sees himself 10 years in the future, right? And the response is just magical. You know, the transformation is instant. But yes, so been dressing men. We've been dressing teachers. You know, we did back to school dress to teachers. We did dress to deacons in honor of Deacon Patterson. At Taken to the Streets, which I'm proud to say we'll be doing that again this year. But you know what? We've been finding campaigns, Suits for Your Service, where we provide suits during Easter to frontline workers and veterans. But this one is special. So this campaign that you just so eloquently promoted, young man, thank you so much for that. I need you to do a commercial for me for that, because that sounded,
That voice.
the voice is
That
silky.
voice, man.
It's silky, brother. It's silky. So, but nevertheless, it's called the I Promise program with an emphasis on the word prom. I typed it.
He the man who made it.
But thank you though.
I sent it to him. You
Right.
know.
So no, you did those assists. So those are the assists. Okay. So those are assists going on. Okay.
I ain't gonna block his shot.
We got the triple.
same
Okay.
team.
Working on the triple double in here. We're working on the triple double. So the I Promise program came last year. You know what? The one thing that we don't do, we don't just give clothes. We actually to manufacture men, right? That's the whole idea.
Wow, that's deep.
It is. That's what we do, right? And so the concept is, even when I had the storefront, right? We put a couple dollars on it for a membership, right? It was $10 for a membership, and that means you get to come into the store and get anything you want. And the reason why we put the $10 membership there is so that you would get picky, right? Because when someone just give you something, you don't get picky, right? We're just so humble and meek people. We'll just take what you give us, and don't worry, I'll take whatever you got. And when I'm trying to dress you, I need you to want the best for you, right? I need us to be on the same page, right? And so I need you to say, no, I don't like that, right? So when we put that little membership in there, and we call it the HIM membership, which stands for Happiness Improvement Movement. And that $10 also got you discounts at haircuts and other things in the community. And so the idea was to take away the charity, because there's so much charity that men are not learning how to hunt, they're not learning how to kill, they're not learning, their food and provide for their families, right? So we want to be able to reinstall and reintroduce them to that natural ability that we have to be able to go get what we need for our families.
So what's the date you have?
So this is the I Promise program. So kids don't get suits just off the muscle because they need it. They have to go through the I Promise program. So it's a 90-minute session that I go into the high schools and teach student athletes. So just for student athletes, by the way, juniors and seniors in high school. And we do a 90-minute presentation where we actually show them video clips of athletes getting in trouble, athletes messing up scholarships and draft status because they had people in the car with guns, and they had, sexual assault and rape and battery and violence and all these things that, alcohol or being in the wrong environment could lead someone to make a bad decision. So we give them what's called REPS, and the REP stands for Responsive Evacuation Procedure. Right? What is your responsive evacuation procedure when you see a situation? And so these young men, they're going through the program. They take the I Promise pledge. where they, you know, they promise not to drink. They promise to be able to be alert of their surroundings and things of that nature, because we want prom night to not become a nightmare, right? So once they go through the program, tomorrow I'll be at Lafayette High School. So big up to Lafayette.
What's your time?
So that is, so
That's separate.
that's separate. That's me going to the school, speaking to the kids. Now, if parents, you know, want to get their kids in the program, they're gonna have to go to this Facebook page. You're gonna have to go to the Power Facebook page to find out how to get information on that. But we are doing a clothing drive, and that's taking place at Key Bank Center at where the Sabres play, where the Bandits just won their back-to-back championship.
He plugging all of them.
Well,
now.
yeah, I was there, man. It was exciting. It was exciting. So nevertheless, you can bring your donations. We need young men's sizes, because a lot of donations I get are of adult sizes.
Right,
so we need the 13 neck shirts and the 14 neck shirts and the 40 size suits and things of that nature. You can bring it to Key Bank from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. up until the 23rd. And then on the 25th, we're going to get an opportunity to dress these young men inside the Key Bank Center. Then we're going to take a tour of the Key Bank Center. It's really exciting, and giving these young men an experience, you know, because I saw what they got for the prom dresses, right? Yeah. And it's at Shays, and it's at the convention center. It's nice, right? And the God put it on my heart to do it in a big space where the young men felt important, and they felt like that this was all for them, and we were rolling out the red carpet for them. So that's what we're doing at Key Bank. Big up to the Buffalo Sabres for making that happen, and allowing us to do that. And then, you know what? On the 25th, we're going to dress them. And if any men would like to, I heard you mention 100 black men. If any men would like to help us dress these men, please contact me as well, because we need styling mentors to join us. Sure, 716-787-2543.
You got it.
All right, bro.
Thank you.
The mayor.
Sixth mayor. Make sure you get it.
I watched Toronto. He ran for Toronto mayor. If you did not know that.
And see,
folks, and they don't know that he ran for mayor in Toronto.
Yeah,
he has I know who he is a little bit, and it's a blessing to have this man here. He has been through trials and tribulations, Austin. I heard him mention that the store that he had, he was just charging $10, and I think that was probably to pay the bills of the store.
That was just to teach the men, you know what I mean? And you know, you're supposed to tip the tailor. You know what I mean? That's one thing. Listen, when the parents bring their kids in, I tell them, listen, give the young man $1 or $2 to give to me, right? Just to build that into them. Yeah. Because where else they're gonna learn that? If they don't see it, like you said, you see it. You can preach it in here. I'm just speaking the gospel. Jim Anderson, chapter 1, verse 3.
Hey, it's you. And look, they will be what they see.
They will be what they see.
And there are ways to get them in the game. And your program, this not only is it a program, this ongoing activity you've been doing that is manifesting a lot of different ways, from doing it in the store to now having this
doing it out of U-Haul.
Yeah.
Listen, right? But it all started inside of a store. Out the car, on the block.
And that's the point. And listen, that's the point.
Yes.
You know, you can do this on your block. You can start taking these elements of working with young people, men and women. Do you need me to say boys and girls, young adult? You need to start working with them to make sure they help them nuance those little parts of life that people take for granted. You know, how to dress if you're going for a job. Yeah, really. If you see some of the folks, how they think they can just go to the job, and
it's here's the thing though, it's deeper. So it's also what to say before the interview starts, right? You know, you got to watch your mouth. You got to watch your language.
And that's the thing that what you do in that program. Can you imagine on your block if you did that? If you started doing some of the work on your block club, your organized unit. Let's talk to the organized first, because we got some folks who will reach out to the unorganized. The organized, you should be glowing with these kinds of activities. We should be able to walk down your block and see some young men and women looking, I'm going to say appropriately dressed. And y'all know what I'm talking about. Look, we know how some dress. We need to help them understand, look, you don't have to have on things all so tied up on you. Right. And you know something? I hope one day we will begin to talk about, zoning and community. I'm not putting nobody out, but we don't need 100 stores selling dresses that are too short
Or weave.
and weave. I think we in the community got to do something about it. And I know, you know, some people think, no, I'm not involved with it. Well, if you're not involved with putting down the negatives of our community, you're not helping us.
Low cost too.
You see, look, I mean, you know, if each block took responsibility.
Not to interrupt too crazy, but we just have a call. I want to make sure that we get through these callers before we get out, because I know we might start rolling. And I want to give a chance to reply if they had some questions they wanted to ask. Caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. This is Dr. Doyle.
Hey, Dr. Doyle.
Mother Doyle.
Yes. First of all, I want to say hello to my friend and brother, DeWitt Lee.
My goodness. I was just preparing to send you a shout out, Queen Mother. I was just preparing.
Yes.
I wasn't going to leave the booth without sending you a shout out.
He gave me an award a few years ago, and I really appreciate him and the work that he does. But I know you don't have too much time, but I want to make an announcement. On Saturday, June the 22nd, I'm going to have a book signing event, and all of my 13 books will be on display.
Oh, wow.
It will not only be book signing, but I will also tell adults, young people how to write a book.
Nice.
I will give them some information because, you know, you may not believe it, but there is money in writing a book. I have 2 books on Amazon, and every quarter I get royalties.
All right.
From my books. They put the money in my checking account. And this is something that we need to know as a people. So I thank Brother DeWitt. I thank you all. Whatever we can do to help our community move forward, we must do. So I just wanted to share that information. June 22nd, one at the Meriwether Library in my auditorium.
Hey, right. We would have our program actually be there, so you would probably have about 39 youth from my program from Stop the Violence. They will be there to help assist you in working. Then DeWitt, you can have them.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Absolutely. That first of all, I think that was just breaking news. I mean, that's big time breaking news. Having all 13 books that she's produced, to have her, in fact, there in the auditorium named after her, is such an honor. You know, during one of the events that we did for the event that we do for 514 Remembrance St. Brian Clothiers is called Jefferson Strong, Our Side of the Story.
Yes, sir.
And so last year we did it where we had, award-winning author Dr. Sylvia Lloyd there, as well as our good brother Martelli, to share some from their books. And we did that inside Paramount. But this year we did it inside Dr. Eva Doyle's auditorium at the Meriwether, and it was focused on people writing the story, right? And so it was very emotional. There's a beautiful piece that Channel 7 did, and maybe if you haven't seen it, I'll share it on the Power page today too, just so you all can get familiar with our socials on this page. But it's a moving piece where they actually, instead of the reporter speaking, he allowed those who wrote down their words share their words, and he put together a beautiful collage. It's very moving. And so the idea was for us to put together a community book, Jefferson Strong, Our Side of the Story. And I got a phone call just a couple of days ago from my sister in the community who represents a bunch of young people who also are interested in taking that exercise and being part of putting their story and their pain to paper. And so to hear that there's going to be an opportunity to hear from the one and only Dr. Eva Doyle on how to write a book. Well, I'm definitely going to try to rally those kids around that event as well. And as we continue to collect more stories so that next year we can share this book, Jefferson Strong, Our Side of the Story, on the 3rd commemoration.
All right. Austin.
Well, I got to give the mic back to me.
Yeah,
the mic back to me. But I think, like, as a young person myself, to comment on the program as a whole, at the beginning, I know you mentioned Suits being a time machine. And I know for me, I don't wear suits all the time. But, Yeah, you put on a suit and you just feel important. And it's one of those things where me and my friends will joke about it, but like, yeah, man, I might just pop out in a suit today, man. I might just put a suit on it because you feel like it's self-care, right? If I take myself seriously,
Right.
Then I expect others to as well. And I know that it is a power that comes with having a suit on. And I think that it's something that you can't really explain to him. You gotta just try it
This is how I
yourself.
explain it to him. I have a slideshow, right? And there's a picture of there's a picture of Superman, there's a picture of Black Panther, right? There's a picture of Spider-Man as walking around as just mere regulars, right? And then what happens when they put the suit on, right? And
Superheroes.
Iron Man needs a suit, right?
Yeah.
Superman says, hold up, wait a second. I know the bus is going off the bridge, but you got to give me a second. I got to put my suit on, right? So there is a transformation that does take place without a question. So, and we want to make it as accessible, right? And the thing is, because these donations come in, they're the best of the best. I don't think there's a clothing store, honestly, that has this variety, because young people also want to express themselves, right? They like to play with fabrics and they like to mix different colors and things of that nature. So to be able to give you generations, just like this room, it has generations of wisdom and experience. That's what our store is. When we have a store when we pull out our selection, it's generations, right, of art, right? Because there's designers who made all of these pieces, right? So for you to be able to take a look at generations worth of artistic expressions and to be able to piece something together that says who you are today in this moment, right? It's powerful. It's therapy, right? It's therapy, man. And to have someone go along that journey with you, a lot of times you're on your own, right? Or you're left one-on-one with a salesperson that is there to just kind of just push you towards the most expensive and,
Commission.
Yeah, commission, right?
Moments like this also have another unique angle that you mentioned in a roundabout way. You mentioned it. When you mention you and your friends, you put on your suit and your friend. Also helping young guys get over the peer pressure. Because we already know growing up, we take an attitude toward the suitors like, oh man, there's and so we have to get rid of that. And sometimes when you've grown and ready to do so, now you're worried about what my buddies are gonna say. You got to help your buddies to understand as best you can, but you have to move on because you understand the importance and the relative things that a suit is related to. And I think that's the thing about what happens when we start teaching what is considered basic things in the culture that those who don't know need to know. We gotta teach them.
What we did was basically, if we want to go into the realm of homicides in our community, young folks went from wearing suits to now they were wearing T-shirts, rest in peace. Took it away from there. Bear witness to a lot of homicide or funerals. Now I'm starting to see young men wearing suits again to funerals. Before they wasn't. Now the skinny suits are out. I get it. The fashion has changed a little bit, but they're not sagging as much as they used to do or come near. Sometimes I say that rest in peace is sometimes disrespectful to be going to someone there, but that's their style. But now they're going back to the suits. I've been witnessing a lot of young men wearing suits, and then they coordinate them almost like a wedding in a way. Everyone has on the same color. Now they're starting wearing the 3-piece with the vest and all that.
And think about where they went to get it,
yes.
Right? And so the thing is, we're talking about Black empowerment, right? We're on a Black-owned radio station, right? We're in the African American Heritage Corridor, right? So if we're not talking about building Black business, and we're not talking about being able to provide them a commercial place,
right,
to be able to get that done,
then
where else they're going, right? So the question is, where are they going? Are they appreciated there? Are they celebrated there? Is there money recycling in the community, right?
That doesn't matter, because that is one of the reasons I say we have to look at what's in our community. We got United Men.
Yes, that's it.
And we have nothing else. And I'm just saying, those who have the mindset and the doableness that want to create a business and that need to start thinking about, that's one of the things that is absent in our community. A good sit-down, large restaurant is another thing that is absent, where you can take not only a family, if you want to bring a group. I'm not saying you have to go to a big hall somewhere, but there should be restaurants that exist that can operate on that level. We're challenged in our community, but it helps us to teach each other and working together to do these things. And I'll end by saying this. You know, if you look at the Black Muslim, the young men in there, sharp, learn, and the way they carry themselves.
Yes.
I'm saying there's a change that happens when we get purposeful with young people.
Once they bring them in, they introduce them to the style of now you have to dress this way, right? And it definitely has an impact. I brought up mafioso because you were like, but you know, it's the best dressed fans. We go to football games dressed in suits. Black men walking around in pinstripe suits at the Bills game, right? You've never seen black excellence shining brighter than at a Bills game on Sunday when we in our suits walking around in hats and everybody's got face paint on and jerseys and ripped pants, right? And we're showing them like this is a tribute to those who went to the rock pile, right, in their suits, right? So that's where that mafioso comes from. It's the first Bills fan base. So before you go crazy,
I just don't like the word mafioso.
I know. I already know. But listen,
violence in my community. And when you say mafioso, to me, I go back to the real mafia, not the ones that's, you know, because this is a football game. And I'm just going there with it.
I get it. No, I get it.
To it.
Well, I'm a Pan-Africanist, brother. So believe me, I'm trouble. I get it, right? Yeah. But because I get to celebrate the east side of Buffalo, right? Because I get to have Sunday service tailgate breakfast now where we actually bring the word before we go to Bills games. So this is an opportunity to draw people in, to give them the word and to bless them. But I will say one of the people who are blessed the most that this is not really talked about, I'm just going to drop it here, because one of the most spiritual experiences and exchanges that I have by providing clothes is receiving the clothes.
Amen.
Right? Because it's the people who entrust me with this clothes. The stories and the men who wore this clothes, right? And for us to be able to maintain their dignity, for me to be able to pull out at our event, I have a suit of the late great Deacon Patterson, right? That I get to put on display, and to be able to honor him. So it's a release for these mothers and for these wives, these widows who have inherited the clothing of their loved one. And they have to find a place for it where it will be treated with respect and dignity that their loved one gave it.
When you say Deacon Patterson, that was a homicide.
Straight up.
And I was there.
Straight up.
You know what I'm saying? How all this rolls back into all of us coming together in network.
Part of the healing.
You know what I'm saying? And I was there for that. And I was like, all right, I seen those kids. I have a picture on my wall of those young men that had careers, like you were saying, football, basketball, and now in jail. Because they made the wrong decisions, or no one got to them with a
no one just talked to them about consequences and prepare them for those environments. Listen, you have these athletes understand reps. You got to run reps so you can anticipate what's going to happen and be prepared, have that muscle memory, be prepared to make the right decisions.
Don't wear the suit when you get ready to go across the stage talking about I just made it to the NFL, then you open up the bling bling suits. Because that's what they do now. You know
these are going to be fancy. Listen, with these young men, we want the suits to be fancy. We're going to hook them up. If there's any tailors in the town, we're actually going to be doing the adjustments right there inside Key Bank Center on this Saturday. So if anyone would like to donate, and actually we have some stipends to give to any tailors who would like to actually come and spend a couple hours. Yeah, so we're looking for tailors, and we have a stipend.
We don't have that in the school system, Austin, back to you. We don't have that in the school system, the seamstress and things like that there to get them ready and prepared for things like that. So that's what we talk about when you say you got billions of dollars and not using them the right way. To have your program in and teaching them how to design this stuff and make this stuff happen right now is crucial. To know the name, Hugo Boss and stuff like that there, and where it comes from, how much money.
You be the boss.
You be the boss.
Well, as we head out, I want to make sure that we leave and give you a chance to reiterate those important dates, that key contact information, just so that the people that want to get involved can get involved. So if you could go back over those main points, the important dates, and then Jim and Murray, if you have some closing statements as we close out, we'll head on out. Let me close. Okay, then
first of all, it's a great honor. Thank you so much for me to bring me into this hallowed space, man. It's something that I know the community's tapped in. So I want to just thank the community for contacting me. Listen, this is one of the very few times where I've actually requested donations, right? People find me online, they Google, they find me. It's unbelievable. So I just want to just salute and tip my hat to all those who have gone above and beyond to find me so that they can give me their things. Any information about our drive will be on the Power page. So please go to the Power 96.5 Power page, and I'll turn it over to you all.
All right, we're going to head out. We don't got no more time for no last
Dig
words.
it.
Enjoy y'all, Buffalo. We'll see y'all next week. Thank you.
Dig it.
Ooh, you gotta turn it. Look, this thing blows so hard, you know, when you turn it on.
Oh yeah, I know it.
You hear it on the air.
I don't know how
Mr.
people
Payne.
can
I'm going to read it.
want it on when they're on the air.
Parents, how to be parents. How can you encourage education for students where parents can't read or write? You have a significant number of parents that are continuously high. Most of our students can't read or write. Sorry, this is like so crazy. I miss my mom, but can't read. No, that's definitely a good point, Mr. Payne. I think that's a whole nother aspect. I'm not a parent myself, so I can't speak on it, but I'll tell you what, in a future show, even though you're not in the room right now, in a future show, if we get involved in it, I'll make sure to remember and shout you out. I'm going to head out. Thank y'all for joining the live. I'll see y'all next week. Peace out.
Got some young folks next week.